do it. So you need at least 2 people. You have someone like by the push handles, and you have someone down by the feet. The person by the push handles is typically the stronger and taller of the 2 people. So I will be down by the feet. Usually Karen demonstrates and she's up by the head. So one person has to be in charge. Usually it's going to be the person that's up the stairs. So we're actually going to bump him up backwards and we're going to come down with him forwards. He's going to be in a wheel tip position going back. And probably the biggest piece is going to be making sure you have stable stance. So if I demo the top person, as I'm here, I'm going to make sure I have 1 foot on a staggered stance. So I have 1 foot up and 1 foot down. I don't like to have 2 feet on each step to do something like this. I'm not very stable. So like this. The same goes as when I'm down by the feet. I'm typically going to have 1 foot up and 1 foot down. Okay? As the top person, you're going to say 1, 2, 3, go. What you're doing is you're rolling the wheels over the step. You're not lifting. So as the bottom person, my important job.
Oh, this is inconvenient.
Okay, as the bottom person, my biggest thing is going to be is I'm going to help roll the wheels over and kind of push back into the stairs. And that's going to be a way for me to stabilize the chair while the top person moves. Okay? So we'll demo, which would be my top person.
And I tell people to think of this like a really weird shaped dolly instead of a wheelchair. Because you put people in this position, they think all of a sudden they're supposed to carry the chair. It's like,
you're like,
it has
no.
wheels.
Right.
Think dolly does, like a dolly. And you would never try to carry the refrigerator.
Right. So as the bottom person, I want to stay off things that are movable. So what do I want to stay off of? The footrest, yeah. Don't go to the footrest, and don't grab, with some of the chairs, don't grab an armrest. If it can come out, it probably will as you move them. Okay? So if we go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and have them tilt back, so we're going to tilt you back.
I had a good spot first.
There you go.
What do you guys think? Sean, good spot? Where should his feet be?
Down.
Wide stance.
Wide stance.
Right?
Squat down to power.
So you're going to be the counter. You say 1, 2, 3, and tell me what we ready to do. Okay? Okay, so we tilt it back first, so tilt it back, keep your head, yeah. Okay, I'm going to readjust. Okay, so on 3.
1, 2, 3,
Good, and push it down and in. Ready? So, hold on, just one time. So as I'm here, I need to stay below and kind of push up versus being up tall and trying to pull. Okay, so I want to be pushing. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Good. When we come down, we're just going to do the reverse. Okay, so on 3, you're going to get your feet placed, and then we're going to lower down. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So, how could he help in the chair? Going down. Yep, so he controls the descent of the wheels. Going up, he could have helped by just pulling up a little bit to give us a help to roll. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Good. Okay. So as a bottom person, I tend to anchor my elbow into my hip there to try to kind of hold so I can stabilize there versus just statically hold it. Okay?
You did a good job of keeping him square to the steps. That's the thing that's sometimes hard when you do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You do it alone, which you sometimes can if you're in the back. You have to keep them square to the steps. You don't want one wheel than the other because you're going to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. The other variation would be if you had 2 people by the feet. So if I was here and I'd have someone to come on the other side, and we would just each take a side and be able to push up. So you could do it with 3 people if it's someone that's a little bit bigger, or you have 2 small people down here.
He's belted to the chair. Okay, I've already talked to him a bit. He's going to go backwards down the stairs. He's going to have one hand on the rail and the other hand either also on that same rail or on the rim of the chair to slow himself down. The spotting is the same places where you were assisting people. So we have someone at the push handles, someone holding onto the frame, someone holding onto the frame in front.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got to stay bent. That's going to be the key. And we let yourself go down.
No wheelies?
No wheelie. He's going to stay bent forward.
Oh, easy. Okay.
And you're going to hear that thunk and you're not going to worry about it.
I didn't let him go. Hard. get sweaty hands.
How many more we got? One?
Good. Okay, now to come back up, it's going to be a similar position to what we helped bounce up. So he's going to turn around backwards. He's going to pull on that, and he's going to play with him. I'm going to pull with both hands. I'm going to do one tilt into it, stay back a little bit into a wheelie. It will help you.
How much you have to see? Yeah, no. So one.
So you'll see if he has both hands on the railing, the chair may tilt a little bit. He's got to reach down and fix it between pulls.
Let me try this last one.
Right.
So certainly we teach falling and arising from a fall position, whether that is done independently or dependently. And aspects of the activity that you cannot perform independently, if somebody's assisting you, would instruct them how best to assist you for your safety and theirs. Okay? So Billy, what you're going to do is pretend as if you've caught your toe on the edge of the mat, and you're going to forward fall, catching yourself on extended arms to bent arms. Okay? You're going to have to throw your crutches because you don't want to land on them. So you're going to whip the crutches out to the side. Somebody on either side, that's a good thing. Okay. So crutches. Most crutches that we see have forward opening. Okay. Those of you who tried the black crutches during the gait lab realize that some of you, your arms slid forward out of the crutches. It didn't secure, the cuff did not secure your forearm enough. Routinely, I like to order side opening cuffs for individuals with spinal cord injury. And I'm just going to flip it this way. So with side opening, we don't worry about the forearm slipping out of the front of the cuff. Plus, when he tosses the cuff out to the side, we have the side opening to assist with that. All right. And as therapists during teaching, I probably have a person on either side of him to help control his descent, but to be able to hop out of the way depending on how he throws those crutches. But we're down to just one person. I'm barely doing anything. You are so good.
Sure.
At this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
All right, ready?
Yeah. All right.
Catch your toes and fall. Arise to standing, head-hip relationship, upper body, significant upper body strength, good balance, okay? So he's got KFOs on with locked ankles. Okay, Billy, what you're going to do is go from prone on elbows to elbows extended, using head, hip, really duck your head to pike your hip up in the air, and push. Okay, now walk your hands back. Okay, this is where good flexibility, especially in the hamstrings, is essential. He's going to retrieve one of his crutches. You pick and choose which one. And he will, we're going to say that he is going to scoop his hand into the cuff and reach for the grip. He's going to weight shift over to the left to free up his right arm to do just that. Okay. And now plant the crutch tip right about here.
Where?
Right about here. Okay.
The
Now he's
shoulder
going
raise again.
Now he's going to weight shift to the right, free up his left arm to retrieve his left crutch. Good job, Billy. Bring it back, please. Now bring his head up, retract his shoulders, and assume that sweet point for balance.
Okay, he would have had to do that all with upper body, right?
All
Picking
upper body.
because he didn't.
So, these cats are always so feeble. So, as the helper, if you were to fall out in public and somebody say, how can I help you get up? The first thing people want to do is reach for your arms and pull. But Billy's going to say, I have a technique, just stand behind me. Okay, two things Billy's going to say. Either my toes are going to slide out as I reach plantigrade, in which case block my feet. Or I'm not going to have much control at my hips, so have support at my hips to control my balance. And if I push back too far, I'm gonna be falling backwards, so just block my body from falling backwards. Okay, so that's the three things an assistant would do. Or he may say, you know, I do pretty good as long as I just scoot back against a wall and I can come up. But there aren't always walls nearby. About the situation where a person would come from this position and retrieve a crutch, or I may place the crutch on my shoulder, okay, and put my hand on the pole of the crutch and come up and retrieve the other one first and place it, and then place this one. Or I just may hold on to the hand grip and bring myself over and retrieve the other one. So either retrieve the right one, put it in place, and then go to the left, or I prop, hand hold, and lean and go for the other one.
So I think getting the crutches in place, it's a lot like when we were teaching the person at C6 level how to place the board, and we said how frustrating that is. Same thing with getting, I mean, you had to work really hard to get the crutch
Yeah,
where
it's hard,
do I want
especially
it?
if you have the forearm cup kind of tight, so it's nice on your forearm, like getting your hand in there.
Right. And then maybe grabbing the handle or the stem like she just showed, you know. And you certainly work backwards, right? So they'll work with from standing, where am I going to put this? How do I drop one? How do I pick up one crutch? How am I going to, you're right, you're going to work that backwards, and then you know they have the range.
And oftentimes when people are practicing, I'll work them with their butt against the wall.
Obviously, it's hard for them to manipulate their legs, but do they tend to try to keep them together, wide apart, just kind of wherever they end up?
You want them, whatever width apart they are in standing,
Okay.
that's our goal. If the legs are too far apart, they're going to splay apart as they try to stand up. And already the difficulty thing is, as they're assuming plantar and walking their hands back to their feet, they're only weight bearing through their toes until they hit foot flat. And so that's a difficult balance point. We were doing dips. Okay, we're going to up the ante with those dips. Those of you who went through all of you went through the gait training component of the labs, realize how much you need to rely on shoulders for control. Those of you who did floor to chair transfers realize how much you rely on shoulder control. Those of you who just observed plantigrade to regaining standing with forearm crutches realize how much you need scapular control. So this is one way to work on all those activities. All right, so show me a nice dip. Okay, all right. All right, now we're going to up the ante a little bit. All right, so now hold that, hold that. I'm going to pull the feet forward. Hold that. Hold that. Good. Hold that. And back down. Back down. Rest. All right. So you can see him start to use head hip. Did you see how his buttocks start to lift up in the air? I'm going to build on that. So that's what we're going to practice next time, build. Okay, I'm going to see how high up your buttocks.
Okay.
You know, so come up. Here, now duck your head down and lift up, and come back down again. And up, and hold, and come back down again. And up, and hold, and come down and rest. Okay. If you don't need to rest between, I'll just move from activity.
Okay, I got a little bit of cramp, so that's all right.
Okay. Okay. So this time, you bring your push your butt out towards me, hips out towards me, pull in your butt out, and push out, and back in again. Okay. Or now, with your hips to right hand, hips to left, hips to right, hips to left. Want to come down and rest, or this activity? Okay. Now rotate your shoulders and look to your buddies behind you to the left, and now to the right, and to the left, and to the right. Okay, and back down again. Okay. So a lot of activities that we can perform in the bars to build additional strength in the upper quadrants and increase kinesthetic awareness of how the shoulders can move the rest of the body. Okay, thank you.
Two big things to remember when you're having more than one person transfer somebody is make sure everything is set up. There's nothing in the way you're going to trip over. If you're going to leave his feet on footrests and you start moving, you got to make sure you walk forward enough to not clip those, or you take the footrest out of the way. Usually if we just swing them out of the way, people trip on them. So they're either off or you're remembering they're there and you're going far enough. And the second thing, besides getting everything out of the way and making sure you have your setup completely right, is communication. You have to talk to the other person. They have to know when to lift. They have to know what we're doing, when we turn, when we sit. So if they're doing the side-by-side transfer, on each side, you've got the lift, step, 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 sideways enough that he's out enough, and when you turn, he's going to have room to come in. So he's going to have to be the one that says we're far enough out. Then it's turn, and then it's back, 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 sit. And the patient will end up typically with this one in a short sit position. Okay? So get your arms where you want them, and then I'm going to check a little bit with where you're putting arms.
Oh, us.
Yeah, you. So yeah, on the bottom, right now they're each taking a leg. It's probably a little sturdier to cross arms and grab onto the other person's forearm. So with your bottom hand. Now you've got them. Now this position of shoulders, we have to be careful. So with some people with spinal cord injuries, they've got good range and it feels okay. They can be up, but the other thing, we're going to protect your shoulders and leave both arms down. And just hang in here, okay? Sit in the back, and you can grab forearms, or if he's got a gait belt on, you can grab opposite sides of the gait belt of that.
I like that, yeah.
All right? All right. You ready to talk? You guys are good? I'll be quiet.
On three, we'll pick them up. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Step, step. Turn. Back, back. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There you go. Not bad. Looks good, right? So top and bottom, then you've got to get closer. So you need to get your chair right up by the surface. So top and bottom, couple of things. As someone who is not very tall, I like top and bottom transfers. I like them, especially if I want it to go right into long sit. I like it. I like that it's close. The bad thing is, usually the person on the back is the one in charge, and if you're short like me, I'm too short. So I'm going to take out Alex just for a minute. So if I was going to come and lift him and I'm in the back, I'm going to cross your arms. I'll do this. So I've got him really good, and I like to lift like this. This protects shoulders. But the problem is, in case you can't tell, I'm already standing all the way up. We ain't getting anywhere, right? So if I have to do this, like if I'm doing this transfer with nursing, then usually I have to, relax a second, I bring a box. I stand up here on the box. I keep one foot on my box and I put my other foot up here on the surface, or I kneel, except I can't kneel, so it's always my foot up there. And what I like about that position is then I can do a weight shift. I can stand up and weight shift them over. I can also remove the armrest, which would, in this case, armrest. Make it a little easier, I don't have to go as high. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you the spot back. I know you've done a fair amount of transferring, but I would strongly suggest you put a foot or a knee up. Okay. He's got the shoulders. He's coming in from the side. Looks pretty good to me.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
There you go. That's nice. Okay. Barb.
I suggest maybe moving the front rigging if all possible, so you're not having to step over that or through that on any of the transfers that Judy's demonstrating.
Okay. Questions on any of these? You certainly could be down at the end and hold the feet in some cases. The nice thing about being on the side like he was is they actually can lift some of the weight then. If you're down at the feet, you don't lift much of the weight, then the back person has all that.
And if you slide one of your hands under the thighs, then you can help the back person by getting the butt up in the air.
Okay. Transfer is a one-person dependent transfer. Obviously, if you can leave their feet on the ground and block their knees and do a one-person dependent transfer, that would be the best, because they take some weight on here, so I prefer that, especially if it's a level surface. Where we use the airlift transfer is, let's say he has a lot of extensor tone, and not just in the quads, but in the hips as well, so that when we go to move, it kicks in and he pushes himself backwards. And I'm trying to do dependent transfer. This is not a very safe situation, okay? So then I might fold up his legs and not put his feet on the ground. The other time I do it is when I need to go to different height surfaces. So for example, I might be going from a chair to a plinth in the doctor's office, where we have a significant difference in height. That's where I'll use this transfer. So when I used to do it, I'd do it without a stool, because I had good knees, and I could squat really low. And since I'm short, this is a perfect transfer for someone like me, because I'm way low and it's easy for me to fold him onto my legs. Those of you who are tall, this one's harder. About time we get something that's easier. So I had a patient, or a wife who's about the height of Natalie, and she'll show you how to do it without the stool. And her husband was 6 foot, 6'1", and 185 pounds, and she could do this actually pretty easy. So it's not the one we try to do all the time, but it's one we can do. So, you know, he so nicely said yes, and that I could pick on him, so I'm going to. So I'm going to scoot you to the edge. I'll scoot you. So I'm just going to lift his legs and pull him here. Okay. I'm going to bring them up and squish them between my legs, and my goal is I'm going to literally fold him up and then do a lean back and find that sweet spot that Barb talked about, that balance point where it's just the hip hinge of my body going back, that weight of my body is enough to get him up, and then all of a sudden he's there. And I can go anywhere then, okay? So a couple of different places. If I want to protect his shoulders, I might keep his hands here. I'm going to literally fold him. In his case, I'm going to put your head on my shoulder. Get this. I got it. I'm going to lift on 3, right? 1, 2, 3. And I just lean back, and I got him. So I can go anywhere now. There we go.
That's kind of nice.
It's really easy. It's not bad. I'm going to have you go back there. Now, if the height to me isn't right, and I can't get him up very far, then I'm going to put him under my arm. I showered today and used to so I'm going to be scooped together. Okay. So again, I'm going to have him here. This time, I'm going to put your hands here. I'm going to tuck him underneath. Okay. So I've got him. Now it's really easy for me to get over, and I can really go now. Where would you like to go? Okay. So that handheld makes it really easy to get head down, hips up. But for me, it's just, so when you first try this with each other, try first just getting them up. Can I get them up and get that feel of what is it like to be here kneeling on me? Okay? So before we get too far, Natalie, do you
You usually don't have a stool you take around with you, and if you're bedside, you have to have a different transfer. So you can do the same technique, except, so I'm having you scoot forward. So everything that Judy did, except I'm going to bring him up here, hold this here, come around the side, and then here and lean forward.
But it's a trust exercise. How far do I lean back, and I'm going to let his weight counter it, and I'm going to trust and go back. Now, if I'm teaching this, where I'm going to be as a therapist, I've shown her this, so Natalie's going to get in that position again. I'm going to be literally on a stool, down as low as it can be, and I'm going to be here. Because if she has trouble and runs into trouble, I'm going to have her, she can sit right down. Okay? That's where I want to be.
And then the alternative, I don't want to bring, if I don't have to bring legs off and I can do more of a dependent squat pivot, I'm going to have him here. I can still do that same technique where I'm weight shifting him forward to bring him around.
So the more dependent they are, use that head hips, right? The head's away, the butt's going toward the surface you want to go to. First thing you're going to do is roll them to you. So then usually he'd be the head person, but I'll be it. On 3, roll them to us. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now stand up. And now we're gonna shuffle a couple of steps that way. Now come back. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Till we get, keep them curled, keep them curled. Okay, now squat down, squat down, squat down, and then unroll.
Oh man.
But the key is to keep them rolled up.
Yeah.
The key is to keep them rolled.
That's all biceps.
So like shoulder, hip,
You were working.
leg.
I was working hard. Well, because my left hand couldn't do anything for your head. It was all my right.
So if he happens to be in a halo, it makes life much easier
Yeah.
because he can slide down. But-
Yeah.
So we'll let you guys demonstrate. But that's
Bring myself up into long sitting, grab a leg, bring it back down again. Whoops, that wasn't good planning, was it? And then, using my pant leg, I can bring myself into this position and stretch. Using the strap around the feet, the foot, fine. Sometimes it's difficult to control what's going on at the knee or rotation of the leg at the same time. Make sure you have shoes on so you're not causing skin issues with the strap on the bottom of a stocking or a bare foot. And the other concern is sometimes that strap relocates to the base of the great toe and you can elicit clonus sometimes. And that works against you when it comes to range of motion activities. Some people who cannot, because of grasp or other issues, use this type of method, may be sitting at the edge of the bed or the edge of the mat with one foot down, one leg up, knee straight, and then keeping chest high so they're not collapsing. Lean forward to stretch. So that's another option also.
So if they don't have the back extensors to stay up high, you can prop on arms and literally walk forward on your arms, like that. You see what Barb's doing? So that the body stays high and we're truly still stretching hamstring, not low back. We talked about, we certainly want to let the low back get high.
And for hip extensors, abdominals, knees, wonderful for prone on elbows position. It's always good to have the toes resting over the edge of the bed when the activity is performed so we don't have pressure on the tips of the toes. Or stretching hip extensors, perhaps in a modified Thomas position, like this may work for some people.